Okay, fuck it. I should start. Apologies for the late start. I don't have an excuse. I was fucking making a team in Pokemon Showdown and lost track of time. Also, I am running on about 4 hours of sleep, so forgive me if I sound like I'm at all dying. I probably am. Okay. The air was a buzz of excitement. Frenetic music that blasted from loudspeakers was drowned out by all the conversation. Boxes slammed, booths scraped, burgers sizzled as merriment ensues. From corner to corner, nearly every inch of food space was covered with someone selling something. The assortment of booths offered plushies, t-shirts, keychains, and all other manner of touristy crap. The large signboards used bright colours, big pictures, and small words to list locations and topics of several panels. Alien overlords and you. How to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. I'm not saying it was aliens. Live in concert, the crop circles. Hanging banners point the way to other attractions, like the swap meet and game hall. Near the front entrance, the trio had just arrived. Her hands on her hips, Mariah surveyed the area like a pirate captain scanning the seas. All around, dumb schmucks, raped and swindling, went about their business, completely indifferent. Beside her, Tess stared out into the ocean of faces, hoping to see Marina's familiar, bright one, but no, they were more like gloomy grey clouds, she decided. Joe watched it all happen.
What do you want to see first?
I've been directing the question at Tess, but it was Mariah who answered.
What do you think? We're gonna head to the swap meet, like we decided. That's where all the suckers will be at.
Makes sense that you'd head there first, then.
You're damn right it does. What? You think you've got a better idea floating in that head of yours?
I'd mostly been asking the kid who wanted to be here. You know, the one who clearly needs some cheering up.
Fine. Hey kid, you wanna go to the swap meet?
Tess shrugged. She didn't particularly feel like going to the swap meet, but she didn't feel like doing anything else either. More than anything, she felt tired. It wasn't the kind of tired where you need more sleep, you need to sleep more. It was more like the kind of tired where you just don't want to get out of bed.
See? She likes the idea!
Gripping her sister's shoulder like a rag doll, Mariah began to drag Tess towards the swap meet. Joe held out an arm to stop her.
Why don't you go handle this one on your own? I'll take Tess and go do something fun.
Fun? Fun? What's the use of fun? You can't pay for shit with fun.
You can't pay anything if you waste all your money gambling, but that's never stopped you before.
Well, if somebody would count the cards like they're supposed to, then it wouldn't be such a waste.
Tell you what, I'll give you $10. Surely that's gotta be enough to get you started, right?
$10? I couldn't blow my nose with $10.
Fine, 20.
Mariah eyed him slyly, calculating just how far she could push Joey's generosity. And patience. Finally, she held out a hand.
Deal.
Joe slid a crisp $20 bill from his wallet and placed it and passed it to Mariah. She sniffed it, licked it once to be sure, and then pocketed it.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Mariah just growled in response, not having a comeback, but not wanting Joe to have the last word. Like a cat fallen from a banister, she sauntered away with the illusion of dignity. She had a plan, but of course it wasn't one she could admit to Joe. He would think she'd be gone. He would think that she'd gone soft if he knew she was worried about Tess. But after reading the messages her sister was sending, it was Mariah's phone after all. She knew that something had to be done. That's why she agreed to come to the stupid alien convention anyway, because Tess wanted to. Even though anyone with half a brain knew that the supernatural convention down the Excalibur would be way more lucrative. The cash she had would be more than enough to find a gift for Tess. and if she was savvy, she could talk her way into a discount. There should be plenty left over for her to spend on herself too. Once Mariah left, and he was finally granted some peace, Joe knelt down so he was closer to Tess's eye level.
All right, kiddo, let's try that again. The convention is your oyster. What do you want to do?
Tess shrugged, more interested in the gums stuck on the ground near Joe's foot than any of her surroundings. It was stretched thin and gross, ignored unless it was causing someone a problem.
Text Marina, I guess.
That doesn't count. Something that isn't on your phone?
Plus of hobbies exhausted, Tess just stood and waited to be told what to do.
What about some of the games? Want to see if we can win you some sort of prize?
If you want.
Hey, it's not about what I want today. It's about you. What sounds fun to you?
Tess thought long and hard, but she just couldn't come up with an answer.
Right. Games it is. Nothing gets the old dopamine pumping like some carnival games.
This poor baby. Joe didn't know if that was true, but he desperately hoped it was. The first game they stopped at was a tested strength. A big yellow pressure plate sat invitingly at the base of an illustrated tractor beam. At the top of the beam was a UFO, complete with flashy LED lights.
All right, this one's an old classic. Watch and learn. I'll get it warmed up for you.
With an extra pump, Joel rolled up his sleeves and flexed his arms, accepting a mallet from the bored-looking college student running the game. He glanced down to make sure Tess was watching. She was, or at least she was staring in the general direction of the game. And then Joe swung. He put his back into it and his full body weight too. The mallet crashed against the pressure plate, illuminating the first in a trail of lights that ran all the way up to the base of the UFO. All the way from the base of the UFO. First one light turned yellow, then another, and then it stopped after just 3 lights. It wasn't even a fifth of the way up the board. You're not even worth abducting. A scoreboard taunted.
Here's your prize, sir.
Lieutenant's voice couldn't have been more flat or boring. He offered a basket of aluminum badges, each bearing a small illustration of a cartoon alien. Joe picked one at random and dropped it into his pocket.
Okay, your turn. Let's see what you've got.
Tess grasped the mallet, which was almost half her weight. She lifted it until it was just barely over her shoulders, then brought it down, letting gravity do most of the work. The mallet clanked off the pressure plate as the lights began to streak upwards once again, past the first, and the second, and the third, eagerly ellipsing Joe's score. He continued to climb and climb, until it reached the apex. The UFO lit up, making a clattering chime sound in celebration. The first man of the game approached Tess, carrying an immense UFO-shaped pillow. It was almost as big as one of the tires in the RV.
Here's your prize, ma'am.
He sounded just as unimpressed as when he'd been at Joe's score.
Hey, great job!
Tess struggled to wrap her arms around her new prize as Joe clapped in support.
You did it! You hit the jackpot! How's it feel? Pretty good, right?
Not really.
Poor baby. Oh, I feel so bad for her.
Doesn't feel like anything.
He tried not to let it bother him.
Sounds like we just haven't found the right game for you yet. Come on, let's try the next one.
Tess followed dutifully, clinging to the pillow that Joe had been so excited for her to win. Next, the pair arrived at a decorated skee-ball machine, completed with crop circle theming around the goals.
Ever played one of these before? Do you know how it works?
Tess shook her head.
It's a real test of skill, not luck. You've got to focus for this one.
At the end of a long ramp, several slots were arranged across the backboard. The plastic corrals surrounded each hole, with point values painted on.
Don't worry about aiming for the big money. Go for the easier shots that you know you can make.
Summarizing both his game plan and life philosophy, Joe readied himself for the game to begin. 5 plastic balls were dispensed near his hand, and he picked one up, getting a feel for the weight. With a bowler's dramatic flourish, he sent the first ball careering up the ramp. It bounced off the lip, nearly landing in the very prize zone, but instead bouncing back to the 10-pointer.
Dang, close one.
Back to Joe's next throw. Both of Joe's next throws missed. while the fourth one landed in the 20-point zone.
All right, this is the last one. Need at least 20 more points to win a prize. Think you can cheer me on?
How do I do that?
Whatever feels right to you, kiddo.
She thought about it for a moment, then Tess stepped forward and awkwardly reached up to pat Joe's shoulder twice.
Good luck.
Joe stared down at the 20-point hole, channeling all his focus and concentration, pictured a crosshair in his mind, pinpointing the exact spot the ball needed to land. He stepped back, practicing the shot a couple times, then with a solemn nod, he stepped forward and threw. The ball went wide, missing the target by a number of inches and instead rolling down to the 10-point zone. A series of red lights and disappointed trombone music reminded them that 40 points was not enough to qualify for a prize.
Well, you can't win them all.
Sorry. Guess I'm bad luck.
No!
He struggled once again to think of something mature and adult-like to say, but what could he say to a kid who was having such unkid-like thoughts?
Why don't you give this one a shot? Here, I'll hold that.
After accepting the UFO plushie, he ushered Tess towards the game. She stared up at the target area. Since Joe wanted to try, she would try. Without bothering to get a feel like Joe did, Tess made her first shot. The ball whizzed up the ramp and nearly sank. The ball whizzed over the ramp and sank neatly into the 20-point zone.
Nice going.
Shot 2 landed in the 10-pointer. Shot 3 was now 20. Even though shot 4 was a miss, Tess was guaranteed a prize. On shot 5, Joe came to stand behind her, crouching down to see the game from Tess's level.
All right, last shot. You can go for something safe, like another 10 points, or you can aim big and try to double your score. What's it gonna be?
Tess threw the ball, not caring too much as to where it landed. The ball sailed over and cracked against the 50-point zone, but it didn't make it in. It ran down another 2 spots, then finally disappeared into the 40 hole.
Woo! Go Tess!
Once again, Joe whooped and hollered in celebration, trying to have enough enthusiasm for the two of them. But after Tess has accepted her prize, a t-shirt that was 3 sizes too big for her, she didn't look any happier.
What about now? Heart racing? Blood boiling?
Still no.
Still not determined to give in, Joe led them to the next game.
Now this is sure to make you really feel alive.
It was a shooting range game, with a smaller laser gun attached to a tether. Several feet away was It was a shooting game range. My god. Who the fuck let me play a fucking visual novel in 4 hours? It's like, I can barely read this shit when I'm fully awake. It was a shooting range game, with a smaller laser gun attached to a tether. Several feet away, cardboard aliens that were varying degrees of the grotesque would pop up, with targets stamped across them.
Easy as pie. You aim,
Joe closed one eye and raised the gun up as he leveled it at the target.
wait for it.
One of the high-value cutouts, an especially hideous thing with purple skin and horns and tentacles, was due to pop up any second. The moment it reared its ugly head, Joe pulled the trigger. Just a second later, it disappeared again, Joe's shot having gone wide and missed. Sighing, he placed the gun back in his holster.
Well, I was never much good at these. But I bet you can step up there and show an old geezer like me how it's done, right?
Wordlessly, Tess stepped forward and readied the toy gun. When the targets first started to move, she began firing lazily, her motions shaky and random. But as fate would have it, her shots were finding their marks. Not everyone landed, but many did. With each hit, there was an accompanying sound effect to add to the hype. Well, if there had been any hype to begin with. Tess fired with the cold indifference of a hardened criminal until the timer ran out. She didn't even bother to check the score and simply accepted the prize which was upon her, ready to be forgotten. Joe extended a hand, offering to carry some of the burden. He landed the UFO plushie from the first game onto his shoulder, giving Tess an easier time. The two of them headed away from the shooting range, finding a spot to sit down near an empty stairway. Joe poked the prizes in Tess's arms to get her attention.
I reckon you've got one of the best records of anyone here at this con. If your sister were around, I'm sure she'd be chomping at the bit to find a way to make some money off of that. What about you, though? Did you have a good time?
Tess was quiet for a long moment, which Joe took as a good sign. She had to think about it, then the answer couldn't just be an easy no. Then she pulled out her cell phone, stared down at its blank screen, as if it might get better news, maybe a message from Marina. Nothing. Had Marina forgotten her after all? The girl stared back from the pristine glass. The girl staring back from the girl staring back at her from the pristine glass to a stranger.
Other people are having fun. You're having fun. Why can't I have fun too?
Pepe. The quiet solemnity of Tess's question took Joe off guard, even though he knew he should be used to it by now.
Well, that's because...
He racked his brain, hoping to stumble across something poignant to say.
There's something wrong with me, isn't there?
It wasn't even a question, just a statement. Joe sighed and just put what he hoped was a comforting arm around Tess's shoulder. This is going to be harder than he thought. Cutting over to our favourite couple. Mia and I showed up to Sweet Tooth bright and early. Mia as awake as ever, Marina still complaining about just how early we were. Or just how early it was. When we knocked on the glass, Cassie swiftly let us in.
Wow, I kinda didn't expect you guys to really show up.
When Amber sets her mind on something, there's no stopping her.
You two are both lifesavers, honestly. I've been here for a few hours already.
Are you running this thing solo?
Yep, just me. My recipes, my decorations, all of it's mine. I should have done some of this stuff days ago, but you know how that is.
What are we making? Candy?
Nah, the candy's all finished. We're gonna make crispy rice treats. Come on, we'll use the main kitchen.
She catered us for the dark store. I was here to ask. Go with Marina just because I like getting to you. It's the word. It's still novelty being able to read from her perspective.
Make sure you guys wash your hands.
The kitchen we were in is super professional. It's all kind of scary looking equipment with dials and knobs and sensors. All of it made of shiny metal, like we were already on a UFO. I guess that would explain how it ended up in Bizarro Land, Bizarro Amber. As if waking up before the sun does really isn't bad enough. It's for the sake of this random girl that Amber barely knows. Okay, sure, it's not like Amber haven't helped out random girls before, but it's so rare that I can't help but feel like the alarm bells in my own head are going off. Whatever, Marina. It's just one day. You can put off Amber being insensitive for a day, right? I already know that I can, of course. I've done that for a lot of days.
Ever made these before?
Nope, never. You?
Tons of times. I'm a pro at these.
And I'm going to make the best freaking batch of my life. I add in my head. No way I'm going to let myself get shown up here.
Oh, really? Do you eat them all yourself?
If I'm a pro at anything, it's finding ways to tease me.
I wish. You're a crowd pleaser when you've got a family full of little kids.
So, what you're saying is, I should leave it all to you.
No way. You're the one who signed us up for this.
I know she's just kidding, but it still stings. Because it's basically proof that she doesn't really want me to be doing this either. No. I know she's just kidding, but it still stings. Because it's basically proof she doesn't really want to be doing this either.
Hey, it's just helping out a friend.
Can't help but glare over at Cassie, making sure she's not listening. Cassie's not a bad person, I don't think. She probably got no idea how I'm feeling over here. Doesn't change the fact that things would be a lot easier right now if she didn't exist.
A friend. Amber, you've known her for like 2 minutes.
That's time for an entire trip to get rebuilt around her, though.
That's about how long I knew you when I let you in the RV.
Those are like totally different things.
They are, right? I was stuck on the side of the road and probably would have died of heat stroke in like an hour if Amber hadn't shown up. And then from there, it wasn't like Amber had anything else going on. She didn't have a girlfriend who was already struggling to be good enough. All I wanted to do was see Tess and spend time with Amber. Was that too much to ask?
Sorry, I thought it'd be fun for us both.
Like I say, at this point we're committed. Or at least I am. May as well try to make the best of it. Right?
Well, it can still be fun. Come on, Cassie's probably wondering why it's taking us so long to wash our hands.
And over to Amber again. We join Cassie, the long counter, and put on the clear plastic gloves that she hands us. We start dolling our supplies, pots and pans, utensils, ingredients. There are already a few pans. Jesus Christ, I'm probably gonna have to get this to start straight because I cannot read today. She starts doling out supplies, pots and pans, utensils, and ingredients. There are already a few pans of stuff boiling on the stove.
Thanks again for helping out. Seriously, I mean it. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make it up to you. Once we're done here, I can drive us to the con. Does that work?
I glance at Marina, who shrugs.
Sure. Beats having to park the RV at a casino.
An RV, huh? And you met while driving? I'm guessing there's a good story in here somewhere, right?
It's kind of an unbelievable one, really. Like, if someone told me it happened to them, I'd think they were lying.
Okay, now I've gotta know.
A few months ago, did you ever hear about this journal?
At first we try to keep it brief, but Cassie makes it clear she wants the whole story. So we're out with the first piece of treasure and go from there. Marina and I take turns talking and filling in blanks where the other starts to stumble or forget a detail. While we talk, Cassie finishes the preparations that include moving the stuff from the stove onto trays to cool. Then she starts to set up the next station for us to make treats. Other than occasionally asking for clarification on something, she doesn't ever interrupt. Finish up the story for our arrival back in Las Vegas just yesterday. When I'm done, Cassie looks at me, then at Marina. She shakes her head.
Wow. That's really all I can say. Wow.
Told you it was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, you sure did. I was expecting you to be high school sweethearts who eloped or something. Not a John Wayne movie. Everyone's been talking about the gold, the journal, the people who found it. My boss even wanted to do some promo event where we'd have gold-plated chocolate bars to capitalize on the hype. And here you are, helping me out. It's pretty surreal.
It's been one surreal moment after another for us. You get used to them eventually.
Maybe you do. The road sounds a hell of a lot more interesting than things here.
This is Las Vegas, though. It's one of the most famous cities in the world. How's that not interesting?
I guess when you live here, you get used to it. Besides, the Las Vegas that people dream about is a scam. Fool's gold, pretty much.
That's the way all cities are. They sound nicer from the outside, until you're there and have to deal with the traffic and the people.
You have to excuse Amber. Sometimes she forgets how to have fun.
I'm just saying, I'll bet even Carlsbad sounds interesting when you're not from there.
Hey, I can see it both ways. I moved out here because I thought it would be a lot different than what it is. Turns out the Las Vegas they try to sell you on TV isn't real.
Then she makes a chopping motion of her hand, starting to bustle around once more.
Right, well, famous treasure hunters or not, let's make some treats.
She ushers us over to one of the counters, where there are a few grocery bags full of supplies. At a glance, I can see marshmallows, butter, and crisps rice cereal. That's a lot. There's a lot of each. There's also a precarious stack of pans and utensils, plus a few boxes of plastic wrap. Finally, there are a few portable single-burner stoves. All in all, looks like something someone dumped off here and said, "Not my problem," about.
If you want, I can walk you through how to do it.
Before I can even respond or accept the heavy pan that Cassie offers me, Marina cuts across and snatches it from her.
It's okay, I can show her.
For a second, Cassie looks a little taken aback, like she didn't expect to be challenged, but she shrugs.
Sure thing.
Marina's trying. Cassie scoops up a few things from the bags, then slides one of the stoves further down the counter. Marina grabs supplies as well, doubling up on everything. Marina squeezes past me and turns on the burner, setting the heavy pan on top of it. She then unwraps and drops a couple sticks of butter in.
First things first. You gotta melt these.
Right.
Here, chop it up. It'll make it go faster.
She hands me a knife, which I grip like a caveman and use to hack out the softening butter. The butter melts slowly, even though the fat underneath it is blazing brightly. While we wait, Marina starts to set up her own station a few feet from mine. As soon as there comes a thick pull, Marina hands me a bag of marshmallows.
Add these in slowly and stir them so that they'll melt.
The whole bag?
2 bags, actually.
My teeth hurt just thinking about eating one of these.
If you say so.
I do.
I pull hard, trying to tear the open in the bag, and eventually resort to using my teeth. That makes it split open and a couple of marshmallows bounce onto the counter and floor. I bound down to pick them up.
5-second rule.
Horrified, Marina bats them out of my hand again.
Ew, no, gross!
Those marshmallows are gonna come out of your paycheck.
Uh-huh, just fire me in that case.
I lightly bounce a clean marshmallow off Marina's forehead.
Dork!
She wantedly tosses it into the trash of the ones from the floor.
Marshmallows, pan, now.
Yes, ma'am.
I pour the marshmallows onto the pan with butter. There's almost where they almost immediately start to dissolve and bubble. Marina starts on her butter, stirring it even though it's fully melted.
What are you waiting on? Christmas?
It's my secret technique.
Burning it?
This time she throws a marshmallow at me.
That one comes out of your paycheck.
I head back to my pan. The marshmallows have mostly morphed into a stringy paste. It clings to my spatula when I try to mix.
Are you sure we should add a second bag? This is pretty thick as it is.
Yes, I'm sure.
I do, she says, and dump the second bag of marshmallows in. The pan is getting pretty full, and I have to be careful with my movements to avoid spilling any. Meanwhile, Marina's just now adding the first bag of marshmallows to the bar. On the other side, Cassie is pouring a bag of rice cereal into her own pan. She holds it steady with one hand while she makes a concoction with the other.
So, Cassie, how'd you end up in Las Vegas?
It was a couple years ago now. Had a fight with my dad and left home. Couch surfed for a while, a day or two here, a month or so there. But I got sick of that and decided to settle down somewhere. I came out here because it felt fitting, in a dumb kid romantic way. Like you said, it's Las Vegas. It's all about luck and good fortune, jackpots or busts. I thought that maybe I'd find some purpose or meaning out here. Figured out pretty quickly that life doesn't work like that. At least, not that easy. But I decided that since I came all the way out here that I may as well stay. Got a job at Sweet Tooth because I figured it'd be better working around something I care about than something I don't. And now, here I am.
Cassie sets down the bowls she's been using and inspects me and Marina's progress. She nods approvingly.
Looking good. Go ahead and add in the cereal and let's move over here.
We do what we're told and regroup at one of the clean counters. Cassie is waiting with several colored jars and some plastic brushes.
You kids ready for crafts time? We've still gotta frost these suckers.
I pour mine into a large dish. Like Cassie did. Marina's still a couple minutes behind, mixing in her second bag of marshmallows. I carry the dish over and set it beside Cassie. She hands me a knife.
So go ahead and try to cut these into ovals. It's okay if they're not perfect.
She carves out her own batch like she's cutting a particularly tough steak with a constant back and forth motion. She goes slowly, trying to keep the line straight. The curve is tough, but she manages to pull it off. Half a minute later, she plucks out a piece.
It's kind of an oval, I guess.
That's stretching the truth, it's more like a triangle.
Close enough. Go ahead and shove one of these in there.
She takes a popsicle stick and rams it into the treat. She then pops open the jar of frosting. She then pops open one of the jars of frosting.
Dunk 'em.
She rams the treat in as far as it will go, till the frosting covers the whole thing, then pulls it back out, a bit of excess dripping back into the jar.
Give 'em a once-over with the knife.
Deftly, she scrapes and spreads the frosting until it's smooth. While she does that, Marina joins us with her own tray.
That smells really good.
For some reason, Marina's have a completely different, richer smell than the stuff Cassie and I made.
I know. I told you it's my secret technique.
What is it?
If I told you, it wouldn't be a secret anymore, now would it?
I just stare at her.
Okay, fine. If you brown the butter for a long time, it turns them super good.
Before she can protest, use the knife Cassie gave me to pry off a tiny bit of Marina's cooling mixture and pop it in my mouth.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
It's rich and caramelly, almost like toffee. It definitely puts mine to shame. I can see Marina struggle between yelling at me for stealing and being happy with the praise. She settles for a smug nod.
Can I try?
Marina begrudgingly cuts off a small piece and hands it to Cassie, who handles it as gently as a lump of gold. Marina watches intently as Cassie tastes it.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
Thanks.
Despite herself, I can tell Maria's struggling not to smile and appear nonchalant.
Okay, now that me and Amber have been put to shame, last step.
She rattles a bag of chocolate pieces that are shaped like thin discs.
Take a couple of these bad boys and stick them on before the frosting dries.
2 of the discs get pressed in for eyes. She almost breaks off the corner of her third disc and attaches that to the mouth. She also breaks off the corner of her third disc and attaches that as the mouth.
And voila! It's good enough, and that's what counts.
It isn't perfect, but it's definitely a passable alien. For the last step, she mummifies it in plastic wrap and tosses it into a large plastic bin.
Now we've just gotta do this like 50 more times.
For directions clear, all 3 of us get to work. It's really tough cutting through the marshmallow mess, which has already cooled and solidified a lot by a lot. I have to frequently change my angle or repeatedly stab a spot with the knife. A lot like when we were digging for treasure, Cassie also starts to melt butter for another batch of treats. I finally managed to cut out a rough alien head shape for my tray. Cassie's first was kind of triangular, mine is even farther from the target. I don't think there's a proper name for the shape, it's just a blob. Popsicle sticks. The popsicle stick step is easy. When I start dripping into the frosting, only a little bit sticks. I pull it out and try again, but can't get more than a third of it or so covered. Cassie, who watches me, shrugs.
Don't worry about it, it's close enough.
You've got a pretty generous definition of close.
It's abstract art or something. How do we know aliens don't really look like that?
Good point.
I press in the eyes and a small mouth and then sit aside to be wrapped.
How are yours going?
I hover over Marina's shoulder. This time she doesn't wave at me. She just finishes frosting hers, leaving an artistic unfrosted spot near the neck. Using her fingernails, she snaps the chocolate discs into more jagged eye shapes, then attaches those, using one of the scraps for the mouth. She holds it up for me to see.
What do you think?
It's out of this world.
Marina groans as she sets it down next to mine and Cassie's. All 3 of us huddle together, admiring, or in our case, pretending to admire our handiwork. Cassie whistles in admiration when she picks up Marina's, turning it this way and that to inspect.
This looks great. Good work, you get an A+.
Told you guys. I'm a pro.
Cassie pantomimes, bowing in resignation at Marina's skill.
Amber, you get
You don't have to say it.
an A for effort?
You're more generous than any teacher I've ever heard of.
It's still one that I don't have to make myself, and that's more than enough. Only 48 left to go.
We'll get back to it. With Cassie sometimes pouring new batches of cereal mix on the trays for us to work with. It takes longer than I would have expected, but we managed to get them done. Oh, they're so good. It's clearly a hierarchy in terms of skill. Marina's is nearly perfect, and would fit in well at Roswell Museum. Cassie's are nice, even though the first one looked kind of rough. It would fit right in a cook or something. Mains will probably be sold at a discount. After we finish wrapping all the treats, we move them into a plastic bin. Cassie hoists them onto a small rolling cart along with a few other boxes of homemade goodies. The aftermath is impressive. The returns of dirty dishes and crumbs littering the counter. Cassie tosses most of the dishes into the sink to soak. Cassie checks the clock.
Looks like we finished just in time, too. We should get to the con right when it opens. Again, thanks a ton, you two.
It was fun.
I'm really glad to hear Marina say that.
Yeah, it was. Although, I get the feeling you could have finished faster without us.
No way, I'd have been at it the rest of the morning. Besides, having good company is just as important as having good help. Let me go dump all this in the van and then we can get going.
She wheels the car out and away, leaving Marina and me behind. Instant we're alone, Marina yawns, leaning against me.
Sleepy.
Hey, don't fall asleep. We've got a convention to go to. Did you let Tess know we'll be there soon?
She jolts up straight.
Oh, shoot. I'll do that right now.
Marina pulls up her phone and frantically taps out a message.
I hope she sees it.
I'm sure she will. Isn't she pretty much always on her phone?
Yeah, most of the time.
Damn, this is really deep. These damn Gen Z and their phones. She hasn't responded by the time Cassie returns, this time without the cart.
Ready to go?
Marina grabs my hand.
Ready.
Okay, as much as I love this game and very much would love to continue, I am fucking shattered and clearly in no fucking state. To be trying to read the rest of this shit. Okay, I guess I'm overworking this one. I think it took too much burn anyway. As usual, I'd say thanks for showing up, but no one did. If you're watching the VOD, thanks, I guess. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.